so he could slip back in unseen. At dawn the men changed shifts, and Duncan had noticed the guards who stood by the side gate would disappear for a quarter-hour, just enough time to gather the flowers. And apparently enough time for a stealthy enemy to lay siege. The sound of Dar bellowing from the great hall made Duncan tremble. Dar would fix this, and then tan his hide, but Duncan would gladly take a beating. Beyond the chapel door, Dar shouted something about bastards stabbing him in the back. Duncan wasn't sure what a bastard was, but it sounded awful coming from his Dar's lips. And if the noise coming from all around was any indication, they really were horrible monsters. If only they'd stayed home at Castle Varich, like Mother had wanted. But Dar had said this meeting with the Sutherland clan was important, could strengthen their own clan. They'd met here with an uncle of the Sutherland young chief.
But if the watchmen see the sword come, and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned, if the sword come and take any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at the watchman's hand. So thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore thou shalt hear the word at my mouth, and warn them from me.
The battle sounds raged closer. Duncan tucked his knees up toward his chin, his face buried. He tried to slow his breathing, to calm himself with the reassuring thought that Dar would make everything better, that his mother wasn't screaming, that he was all alone. Oh, what a coward he was, hiding when people were dying all around him. Dying! He may have been young, but he wasn't stupid, and the sounds he heard were of people in agony, people vanishing from this life into the next.
When I say unto the wicked, O wicked man, thou shalt surely die, if thou dost not speak to warn the wicked from his way, that wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood—
The door to the chapel creaked slowly open, and with each screech of the iron hinges' protest, gooseflesh rippled from his ankles to the top of his head. Boot heels clicked ominously on the stone cobbles, echoing inside Duncan's head. Not the shuffling steps of Father Bernard, not his mother's reassuring movements, nor the steady, measured footfalls of his father. These were the footsteps of an enemy. If they'd come inside the chapel, then they must have finished with everyone in Dingwall. Dar hadn't won. Duncan slipped the crucifix into his left boot and reached for the handle of the skeen-dhu his father had given him, stashed in his right boot. He gripped it tight, the hilt digging into his palm, a palm his father had promised would grow as big as his. Duncan held his breath, praying whoever walked toward him couldn't hear the sound of his heartbeat, for it boomed loud in his own ears. A screeching sound pierced the air, like a sword being scraped deliberately across the stones, making Duncan's teeth chatter. He clenched his jaw tight, refusing to let this nightmare rule him. The screeching lasted for several seconds, drowning out the sounds of footsteps, and stopped just before the altar. Definitely not a friend. Did he know Duncan hid in here, hoping for sanctuary? He gripped the little knife harder, swearing that he'd use it if the enemy discovered him. Only 7 summers, he was still a warrior, a true warrior, and he'd protect his family's honour, even if he was the only one left. Duncan's lungs felt on fire from holding his breath. He wouldn't be able to hold it much longer. The door to the chapel burst open, crashing against the wall, just as his breath rushed out and he gulped in another.
"Ye dinna belong in here."
Father Bernard's voice was calm but loud as he spoke.
"Get out of here, priest, and make me murder a man of the cloth."
A man. Sounded much like the Sutherland contact his parents had supped with the night before.
"Ye would not do that. Such an act would only damn ye forever,"
Father Bernard protested, his voice still tranquil.